doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate, just a puppet on a lonely string. Oh, who would ever want to be king? I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name, never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world. Hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know St. Peter won't call my name, never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world.
And rule the world he did, didn't he? Hello, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Bev Grenda, and I'm Trev's little sister. On behalf of our family, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for taking the time out of your busy lives to come and remember Trevor with us. I was born fourth out of 5 children, but today I stand here as the middle of 3, as we farewelled my older brother just 5 months ago. To lose another brother within 6 months has just devastated us. And we're very grateful for your love and support at this time. There are many words one could use to describe Trev. Exasperating, stubborn, definitely annoying, but also cheeky, caring, loving, and loud. He was never shy in giving you his opinion, whether you wanted his advice or not. Sometimes he would take the opposite side of an argument just to keep the debate going, even when it was absolute rubbish. And distance was never a hindrance to this either, with text after text after text after text. With some shopping, I can't say it, he could even dress loud, as he could pick up Hawaiian shirts for just a couple of bucks. And thus, over the years, his collection of Hawaiian shirts grew and grew. So thank you for joining us in dressing in a manner that Trev would definitely have approved of, loud. In these last few years, Trevor had a few health issues, but nothing that was thought to be terminal. Serious perhaps, but certainly not terminal. He had recently found a new direction for his life, and he was cooking up a great many plans for both here in Melbourne and Alice Springs. He had looked at the man in the mirror and was taking responsibility. He was planning to be around for the next 20 or 30 years, and he had changes to make, people to see, things to do. Sadly and tragically, his time ran out. His passing from as yet still unknown causes was a great shock to us all, and not the least, I am sure, to him. As infuriating as he could be at times in our sibling relationship, we still loved each other, and fortunately, this was something we did say to each other. He had a warm and generous heart and a loving nature that his mother and I saw often. We both also love Star Trek, and I will hand over using some of the immortal words of Mr. Spock. Trevor, I have been and always shall be your friend. So on that note, I would like to introduce you to our celebrant, Lynn Palissy.
Thank you so much, Bev. Well, I'm glad I was introduced as the celebrant and not one of Trevor's dating app friends. But there's a lot of beautiful ladies here today, so you never know. There might be just a few of you here. So thank you so very much. Actually, I think I would have minded being one of Trevor's dating app friends. Well, Bev has said so many wonderful things about Trevor, and she said some other things about Trevor, but she was very honest in her speaking about him. But I had the pleasure of spending time with Bev on Wednesday morning, where we just talked about Trevor. And Trevor, regardless of anything, was a much-loved son. He was a brother, he was a husband, a father, and a friend to so very many people. I came to have the understanding that Trevor was a man who, apart from what Bev has said, just loved to help people. That's what Bev said. He took delight in helping others. And with other people, he was always so bright and positive, which is absolutely wonderful. And at heart, he was a good man. But at times, of course, the devil did chase his tail. He had found, as Bev just said, a new and wonderful zest for life. And as we heard, he had so many plans for the future. So it is with a sense of disbelief that we do sit here today. But I know that Trevor would not want this to be a sombre occasion. He would want you all to smile and just be here together to show support for not only his family, but for each other. And I must admit, while I was standing out in the entrance to the chapel, I was sort of listening to people as they walked in, and there was quite a few stories as people were walking in, and one of them was about a BMW motorbike that's sitting in pieces in his kitchen, a bike that's about 30 years old and most likely worth a lot of money. So I think the family should put it back together again. And also apparently he used to wear turquoise leathers. Oh my goodness. Well, you could always spot him on the road. So it's lovely to hear some of these stories, and I know you're going to get an opportunity to share a lot more stories a little bit later on. But right now, it gives me very great pleasure to invite Robin McMinn to come forward, and Robin has been a long-time friend of Trevor's, and she's going to tell you a little bit about Trevor George Grenda. So thank you, Robin.
Hello. This is sad circumstances to be here and to maybe meet some of you for the first time. Nobody knows who I am, or the people that don't know who I am. My name's Robin McMinn, and I met Trevor. We were at Ryla together in 1980, and I was 17. He was 18, and that was the first time that was when we met. I've just been asked to say a few things on behalf of the family, and I'd like to start with a small poem, and then I shall be reading a few things, and then I'm going to be asking Lucas and Mel to come up. Love many things, for therein lies the true strength, and whosoever loves much performs much, and can accomplish much, and what is done with love is done well. Trevor George Grenda was born on the 1st of June 1961, the third child of 5 children to Lance and Ray Grenda. Trevor spent his younger years in Clayton. The family moved to Mount Eliza when he was just 7 years old. Trev went to Mentone Grammar High School with his siblings. He really loved that school. He talked about it a lot. The day was long to get to that school from Mount Eliza because it was an early rise with an early bus and a train into the school, and then sometimes they didn't get home before 6, but they all went together. During these years, Trev excelled at basketball, and at the end of his time there, he finished up with an honours degree in basketball. Well, he was tall. At about 15, during these years, he had some friends and they gained a love of spearfishing down at the bay. He would jump on his bike and meet some mates, go up the road and down to the bay, and often bring home crayfish, some abalone, I believe, and the odd salmon or two. Or snapper. Trev loved the water. He loved the water. And when he got his apprenticeship and started to earn a little bit of money, he got into scuba diving. He started to buy some scuba diving gear, and then he got into underwater photography, and he loved taking photos. This became an all-consuming passion, of course, and with a little money, his first car. We all share memorable moments with Trevor, great memories that last forever. His life was cut short, but far from faint. He lived out loud. He forged his vitality, his passions, and infinite love in our hearts with a beaming, radiant light. He lived a vast life. Trev and I went on to become lifelong friends, as we were right through from 17 until now. So in recent times, I believe, the scuba gear went into the shower recess at his home, much to the annoyance of his family and friends. And one scuba tank, I believe, became a giant money box fed by visitors who had a potty mouth. He shared his pastimes with the community. He did lots of volunteer work. He joined the Scout movement to be part of his younger brother Ian's life. This led him to the Ryler program, which is the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards program, which is where I met him. His involvement in Rotaract then became significant in his life and channeled his energies in many positive ways. He was a mover and shaker and attended almost all functions without fail. He supported not only his own club, but all surrounding clubs of District 982 from Seaford to Bairnsdale. He held multiple positions within Rotaract, including the district representative, which enabled him to extend his membership for 1 year because he loved it. He loved Rotaract so much that he was always figuring out how he can keep in there. A favourite part of Rotaract was attending conferences and exchanges interstate and overseas. Raising money for community causes involved a plethora of activities, including bandage rolling and a bed push. He travelled with Rotaract international conferences in Africa and Japan. His contribution to community extended to the Australian Coast Guard, where part of his job was also to support within the CFA, the SES. He was a reasonably long-term member of the Frankston RSL, and these last few years, the National Road Transport Hall of Fame in Alice Springs. Trevor was an electrician by trade, and he was an apprentice when I met him. And he completed his apprenticeship and worked for CUB for a long time. He went on to build his first home at 27. Some of us might recall Chateau Yarralumla. Many a good time was had at his home, including a dip in the spa till the wee hours of the morning. He met and married Caroline during Rotaract, and they had 2 beautiful children, Lucas and Melanie, who were a half-sister and brother to Erin. Lucas, would you like to come and say a few words? Mel, would you like to come up? Lucas Grenda.
Hi guys. So, wow, this has come far earlier than I could have ever planned for, but I don't think this is something that you could ever plan for. Although it is good to plan ahead, there is something beautiful in letting it catch you by surprise. The idea that we hope to live forever, that we never ever need to say goodbye. But that wouldn't be fair now, would it? Everybody has got to go at some time, as horrible as it sounds. Now, I'm not too sure of the percentage of people that lose their fathers at the age of 19, but I cannot say that I would have ever expected to be one of them. Dad was a man of steel, an adventurer and a jack of all trades. He could take on anything, almost invincible at times it seems. This outgoing personality has shaped me into the man that I am today, and I feel incredibly proud to have been given these qualities, because just as Trevor was, I am today. I believe that one of the strongest qualities a human can obtain is a genuine sense of confidence. Dad had this, and more, never afraid to try something new for the fear of judgment or consequence. I strive to show confidence at all times, to show that life's better when you don't hold back. Without him teaching me this, I don't think I would have turned out the way I am today. Here are some of the personal memories that I hold close to my heart. Dad would always take us on road trips all around Australia, most being within the Victorian borders, but some reaching into the Northern Territories, and a few other places, which I'm so glad to have had the chance to do with him at such a young age. We lived reckless lives, staying up late into the night watching movies, and Dad making us rounds of his signature deep-fried French fries. God, they were good. I would love it when Dad took us to Grandma's house. I'd be drinking up all her Ribena, playing with her Lego and splashing in her pool, but staying clear of the creepy crawly. That thing was the worst, taunting us from the deep end, and God forbid you put your head under the water to hear the dreaded ticks that it would echo throughout the water. He took us to the sandcastle exhibitions, and many hours were spent at the Frankston foreshore. Dad was a riot when it came to playground activities, tiring himself down for the pleasure of Mel and I. Dad loved to drive the coach around and follow in his father's footsteps. What fun that was, having an entire coach to play in, moving from seat to seat at will. I will now read some of my sister's memories. And as you guys can tell by this afternoon's dress code, our dad was a pretty fun guy. We think that this trait was necessary for him to deal with us as kids. Being the ages we were constantly full of energy and tearing at each other's throats all the time, until we crashed. Almost every night we would beg for Dad to let us watch a movie, even though he knew that we would be asleep within 10 minutes of starting it, and he would have to carry us to bed, but he'd always let us do it anyways. Among the large list of movies we watched together, the favourites were definitely Doctor Who, Narnia and Monty Python, although in his opinion it would have been Star Trek and MASH. Another memory from our childhood is from when Dad used to take us to the egg farm. And every single time we went, my sister wouldn't let us leave until she had petted every single one of the cats and some of the chickens, whether they liked it or not. Dad took us to Nari's P&L four-wheel driving camp. During this trip, we caught yabbies in the river and laughed when Dad accidentally caught one with his finger. While staying in a caravan, we had a frightful encounter with some huntsmen and caught them in between plates because that's all we could find at the time. One late night, while trying to put logs on the fire, Dad slipped and broke his ankle, making this all round a very fun trip. The first time my sister ever broke a bone was on Dad's Olympic trampoline. My knee somehow managed to smash her hand into the metal side of the trampoline. Knowing her, she put on a big dramatic show that got us rushed down to the ER. She was so happy to discover that it was a hairline fracture and that she had actually broken something so that she could go show her tiny thumb cast at school. I remember that our mum wasn't so happy about this. My dad was the best father I could have ever asked for, and I know that he will never be forgotten by anyone who met him. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas and Mel. Over the years, he has been a wonderful, caring son and family member, enjoying days helping his father maintain the Mount Eliza property, which always culminated with some good food, a few beers with Dad at the end of the working day. His dad passed away in 2006, whereby Trev then helped with the maintenance of the family home, where his mum lived on her own, This was a great help relieving the family of any stress, knowing that Trev was close by. He was a proud part of the Amway Team Mac team. This organisation led to many more opportunities and friendships. As part of Lance's legacy, Trevor and family donated Lenanda, the coach, to the National Transport Museum, and he was enjoying maintaining that exhibit. And as the years went by, Trev spent more and more time up there, and he did a lot of... Trev has fallen in love with the outback and spending more and more time out there. He was appointed a position on the Board of Management heading up the bus division of the museum. He was also helping with other events in Alice, volunteering his time, helping other organisations. All his life, Trev took joy in helping others, family, friends, community. A man with his own beliefs, he did live to serve. He had a limitless heart and was at his happiest helping others. I've just got a couple of little things to finish up, just little poems that we think. A soul greatly missed, gone too soon, an endearing friend forever, lost but never forgotten, a colourful life weaving a matrix in many expressions, with overflowing octaves and many cultural rhythms, resolute with loving intention, compassion, truth and honesty. He left footprints on all of our hearts and the unique melodies of his characters, a friend greatly missed, gone too soon, gone too soon. A short poem I'll read now. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. I am 1,000 winds that blow. I am the diamond glint on snow. I am the sunlight of ripened grain. I am the gentle autumn rain. When you wake the morning hush, I am the swift uplifting rush of quiet birds in circling flight. I am the bright starlight at night. Do not stand at my grave and weep. I am not there, I do not sleep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robin, so very, very much. Beautiful words and a wonderful story. And thank you, Lucas, as well. It was wonderful. And Mel as well. Thank you. I think throughout all of that, regardless of anything, Trevor was born to serve. He just loved to serve. He loved to help. He loved to do whatever he could. He belonged to so many organisations. He belonged to so many organisations of people that just wanted to be there for other people. And I think that's what we have to think about, that this amazing man with all his little quirks and with everything else, he was just a really good human being. So I think you've all been very blessed to know him. Well, we're now going to take a walk down memory lane to see all those moments that made Trevor's life what it was, all those aspects of him that were fun, quirky, at time and good. So think about your relationship with Trevor and how he affected your life, time spent with him, the many, many fun times that you had with him, and also maybe the times that you just sat quietly and just simply enjoy this time of reflection. Thank you, Peter.
No New Year's Day to celebrate, no chocolate covered candy hearts to give away, no first of spring, no song to sing. In fact, here's just another ordinary no wedding Saturday within the month of June. But what it is something true, made up of these three words that I must say to you. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. No summer's high, no warm July, no harvest moon to light one tender August night, no autumn breeze, no falling leaves, not even time for birds to fly to southern sky, no Libra sun, no Halloween, no giving thanks to all the Christmas joy you bring. But what it is, so oh so new, to fill your heart like no three words could ever do. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I do. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I do. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Oh, my heart. Oh, my
Well, what a wonderful time of reflection. Wonderful photographs of very, very smiling Trevor, and so very many of them. And that one photograph of him with the basketball team, my goodness gracious. Lucas looks so much like his dad, it's quite incredible, absolutely. And of course the same height, I should imagine, as his dad. So thank you. Now that song was extremely very special. It was requested by his mum. And because also Trevor had a great tendency to ring and to say, I just called to say I love you. And that was wonderful, and he did it quite often. The only problem is that he often did it at 3 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, we love you too, Trev. But he still did it, and that's the main thing, so good on him. And I'm sure his family deep down, even though it was 3 a.m, they still enjoyed it. I'd now like to invite Nairi to come forward, and she's going to share a few words. Thank you, Nairi. Thank you.
First of all, I'd just like to say thank you. You look fantastic. It's brilliant. Thank you heaps. Most of my thunder's been stolen, so I'm just going to keep it very, very short. a couple of early memories, really early memories. I remember Trev as a brand new baby. I used to have a pram that I pushed my dolls around, and Mum brought home this little baby, and it fitted in my doll's pram, and I could have a real baby. So he got pushed around, and quite often Mum would leave him outside in my doll's pram. And I just had to be really careful when I dashed out to pull him around that he wasn't asleep or it wasn't the real baby in the pusher and the pram. Another memory I remember is he was probably about 2 or 3, and Dad we were going up the snow for the day, and he was a toddler, walking, running everywhere, and Mum went to the shops and bought a sheet of plastic and made a plastic suit, because you couldn't buy them in the shops that stage. They didn't have plastic like that. You didn't even have Glad wrap or anything. You couldn't wrap him up in Glad wrap. So Mum bought this plastic and actually sewed a pair of plastic pants and a plastic jacket. So when we actually got up this snow, that actually caused quite a bit of a problem, because this 2-year-old was darting all over the place, sliding up and down the hills, backwards, forwards, head first, upside down, down to the bottom of the hill. He'd sort of work his way up and then sort of try and crawl up to the top of the hill so he could slide down the hill again. So that was a memory that I had. It was sort of a pinky plastic done with black stitching on the sewing machine. I wasn't there being the older sister, I wasn't there for a lot of his life, but he was always about, and yes, Trev was our extrovert. We've got an introvert and we've got an extrovert. Trev definitely was an extrovert, and yes, many a time I got rung up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning saying, I just wanted to say hello. Hi Trev, clunk. So I've been going through some of his paperwork, and if anyone doesn't know, he's in Amway. So if you'd like to leave an order, I'm sure he'll still take them. And if you don't want to do Amway, there's the Emma Page jewellery. Or if you want to get your telephone connected, Amway will do that too. Just about everything Trevor was, do you know Amway can do that? So I've been going through a lot of his paperwork, and one of the sayings I found was, I've got to put my glasses on because I can't read this. Play full out, life is short. Have fun, F-U-N, fully utilise now. And Trevor sure did that. Thanks.
Thank you, Nairi, so very much. I could just imagine him as a little 2-year-old in his pale pink plastic with black stitching up and down the mountain. Good on him. And also, did you notice in the reflection photographs the turquoise blue leathers? Weren't they good? He did look quite striking on his motorbike. So thank you, Nari, for those beautiful memories. Thank you so much. And there's nothing like good old Amway, good old dish drops, SA8. We know them all. We don't use it but often, but we know them all. So it's wonderful. Well, I would once again, on behalf of the Grenda family, thank you for your presence here today. You have been thanked so much, and I know the family truly appreciate your presence. They truly appreciate the fact that you have dressed in Trevor's favourite Hawaiian shirt, so thank you. They also invite you to remain after the service for refreshments here at the chapel, and you would then get an opportunity to share your own memories and stories. If you like, you are then invited to attend further celebrations for maybe a little bit more than tea and coffee at Beretta's on the outside balcony at the Langwarrin Hotel from 3:30 p.m. onwards. So please join in and share those times that you had with Trevor. I know the family would love to hear about any stories that you've most likely got to tell. Also, this beautiful bowl of roses here to my right, they will be available in refreshments also. So the family do invite you to take one home today in honour of this day and Trevor's life. Also, you may have noticed there are donation envelopes to the National Road Transport Hall of Fame, and that's where we've got our wonderful Lenanda Tours coach here. So you can either send those donations off or you can drop them in the box provided. This was something that, as you've heard, was very, very close to Trevor's heart. Also, as there were so many of you upon arrival, if you didn't get the opportunity to sign the memorial pages, they will also be at refreshments and also later on at Beretta's. If you are so inclined, the family would like to maybe next to your name, if you just pop down maybe 1 or 2 words as to how you actually know Trevor, the family would be most appreciative of that. At the final conclusion of our service, Trevor will be escorted to his awaiting vehicle by the family and also to have their time to say their private and final farewells. So if I could ask that you allow Trevor to leave with the family, and then the rest of you will all be invited to the rear of the chapel to join in refreshments. Well, it is now time to commence our farewells to Trevor, and I realise that this time of parting, of course, is the most heartbreaking. To say goodbye to someone you have loved and still loved is so very difficult. But always know that Trevor will only ever be a heartbeat away. He will live in that part of your heart that no one else can touch. It will be a place where you will store all of those wonderful memories and feelings. Trevor will always be with those that he loved, and he will forever live on. And we will feel grateful that we had the opportunity to simply know this man, to see his face, to hear his laugh and to feel his touch. And for all of the memories that Trevor leaves behind, well, we will cherish those memories and hold on to the true essence of who Trevor was. As humans, we come into this world with nothing and we leave with nothing, but the memories and the time spent with loved ones will forever be cherished. Trevor's words, his deeds, and his true heart and character will be forever held on to so very tightly. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, may I ask you, if you can, to please stand. And if you would care to join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Tenderly, lovingly and reverently, we commit the spirit of Trevor to a more peaceful place. Trevor, we give thanks for your life and for your 56 years on this earth. We thank you for being loud and often a lot of fun. We thank you for your acts of kindness and helpfulness to others. We thank you for simply trying as hard as you could to be the very best person you could. But most of all, we thank you for simply being you. For each of us here today, life is a journey. It is a journey in time. Our birth is the beginning of that journey, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, from ignorance to knowledge, from foolishness to wisdom, from weakness to strength, and often back again. It takes us from offence to forgiveness, from loneliness to friendship, from pain to compassion, from fear to trust, from defeat to defeat, until looking backwards or ahead, we see that victory does not lie at some high point along the road, but in having made that journey step by step. Ladies and gentlemen, our two songs that we will conclude our service with today are also very special to Trevor and the family. We have Going Home from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and as you all know, Trevor loved to get dressed up. He loved to play act, and during his time in his Rotaract days, he loved to dress as Frankenfurter. So this is the first song and tribute to those days. And the second song is by a group called The Giants, a local group from up north, and Trevor just loved their rendition of good old Copperhead Road. Both these songs are once again just so very special. So now when you think of Trevor, it will be as it always was, with a smile and maybe just a slight shake of the head. He will forever live in your hearts and in your minds. So Trevor, as he was such a Star Trek fan, boldly go where no man has gone before, and rest in eternal peace. Trevor George Grenda. Thank you so much.
On the day I went away, was all I had to say. I want to come again.
Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen.
And stay. Smile, and that will mean I'm there. 'Cause I've seen blue skies through the tears in my eyes, and I realize I'm going home. Everywhere it's been the same. Like I'm outside in the rain, free to try and find a game. Cards for sorrow, cards for pain. 'Cause I've seen blue skies through the tears in my eyes, and I realize I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going
same as my daddy and his daddy before. You never did see granddaddy down here. Only came to town about twice a year. About 100 penny east and some copper line. Everybody knew that he made moonshine. Copperhead Road. Well, Granddaddy ran whiskey in a big block Dodge. Bought it at an auction at the Mason's Lodge. Johnson County Sheriff painted on the side. Well, I shot a coat of primer and I looked inside.
death.